Grab your favorite alcoholic or non-alcoholic beverage, drink responsibly, do not drink and drive, and join us for the latest episode of Why Complain When You Can Whine. Everything in this podcast is purely for psychoeducational and entertainment purposes only. Welcome to Why Complain When You Can Whine, making sense of the senseless. Join us as we attempt to make sense of toxic nonsense while drinking wine or any other alcoholic or non-alcoholic beverage of your choice. Today, I do not have an alcoholic beverage, but I just want to say that it is getting harder and harder, it seems, to not have an alcoholic beverage.
Well, it's only 1:16 in the afternoon, so I'm drinking coffee.
I am drinking water with flavor. I am Dr. Jody Larman, licensed clinical psychologist in the state of California. Thank God for California. Yes, so I am not drinking wine today. I am drinking out of my UCLA Bruins. I am drinking just water. And I do have to show, I have this shirt. If you know anything, yes, it's a little late because it was during the Super Bowl. So it's like 2 weeks late, whatever. But Kanye put out a website selling swastika shirts. So this is the response that a lot of Jewish people now have. Fuck
Well,
Kanye.
but
Yes. So fuck Kanye and his swastika. And yeah. So that's me. I am just in a mood this morning.
okay, yeah, fair enough.
Mood.
Okay. And I am Bree Burry, and I live in British Columbia, Vancouver, Canada. I'm a licensed therapist, and I'm drinking Java because it is only 1:17 in the afternoon. Walked my dog, done what I needed to do, working on cleaning. And now we are going to talk about a few things, as Dr. Lorman and we were just discussing. So we're going to continue on DARVO, which is a acronym for narcissistic abuse and sort of maladaptive fighting tactics that narcs use. But we're going to also relate it to the obvious current events that are taking place in the world right now. But I thought it would be fitting based on the fact that I'm Canadian and Dr. Larman is American, and that what is really happening in between the two countries right now, and it's actually heartbreaking because we've always been allies, we've always been friends since 1812, the last war we had against each other. Canadians won that war. Not like that's even important. We're allies and we are friends and we are neighbors. And Canadians are known for our welcomeness, politeness, kindness, gentleness. Everybody says it. Listen to Jimmy Fallon, listen to Jimmy Kimmel, like all the late, they're all Canadians. We're known to be that way around the world, right? And not once in my entire existence have I ever been fearful to go to the States, travel, regardless of the difference in gun laws and different things. I love it. I love that every state has a different element of culture, that you can find so much diversity within the United States, the southern cultures, and then up to the north, or the eastern board versus the west coast versus, it's just so every state has its unique culture that you can learn so much from. And as a history buff and somebody who loves to just experience different, like I'm dying to do a road trip down through the southern states. There's something about that. And I was supposed to be going to New Orleans for a week, meeting a friend who's from Florida down there. Um, and for this time, I'm not going to go, and not because I can't handle discrimination. Fine, you whatever. It's the safety element. I don't feel safe for the first time. Because of the trade wars that are happening now and that Trump's threats with the tariffs, he is deliberately causing and creating animosity between these two countries. It's governments fighting, but now the civilians are getting tied up into this due to the patriotism. And it is the saddest thing I've ever seen. You would never find a Canadian ever mistreating an American citizen coming up through to our country and refusing to serve them or be awful. The booing at the hockey games and the national teams, like Canada doing that at the American anthem, was the most disgusting, disheartening thing. As a Canadian, it was embarrassing, it was shameful. It's not what we're about, it's not who we are. But they're retaliating with the lack of respect we're getting from Trump. And I think that's what it comes down to. And the saddest thing is that again, we need to back away, not get caught up in the governments. It's one fucking guy, and his party does not speak for all the American citizens at all. And we know that. But two incidents has happened now within the last month and a half since this tariff shit has come up. And secondly, with the trade wars happening, now we've pulled the booze off the shelf out of the red states, and the government's just, we're just putting our foot down, right? It's not about creating further whatever, it's just not taking the crap. But a little boy and his dad crossing the border to Washington State, which is right below me, it's like literally a 3 hour drive to Seattle. I go all the time, was heading to Mount Baker. Now, Mount Baker is sort of a more religious and very certain type of demographic of people. But him and his 8-year-old son were traveling down to Mount Baker, and some guy pulled up alongside their truck, and a truck spewing profanities because it had BC license plates. And get the fuck out of here, you fucking
In
Canadian.
Washington?
Washington, which is a blue state, is Democratic
Yeah.
state, but Mount Baker is very Republican.
Okay.
There's a lot of people that are very religious and anyways, just spewing this hatred. Get away, I don't fucking need you. Fucking get it. Go back to your fucking country. Like, whoa, this 8-year-old kid was just super confused. I've never heard of this ever as being, again, we're friends. And then just 2 days ago, my girlfriend who lives in Toronto, her niece, who's 20, just graduated from Dalhousie, which is in the Maritimes in Canada, university, went down with her friends to celebrate in Florida to Delray Beach and were refused service in a restaurant because they were Canadian.
This all of this happening, I want to cry. The one thing that I do see a lot on social media from Canadians is we know it's not all you guys. We know it's not all you guys. We know it's the president because it isn't
Isn't you? No, it's not. It's
all of
not.
us.
But some of the citizens that are Trump followers and really
Oh,
brainwashed, it's allowing the hatred to spread. This is how Hitler did it in World War II. This is where it starts. It starts with the discrimination and the poisoning and the hatred, and it spreads like wildfire. Again, it's only a couple people, but my fear of now traveling is the fact that, okay, I can handle people spewing hatred at me and they don't want to serve me. I can rise above that. That's no problem. That's on you. I'm sorry that you feel that way. Walk away, let them, whatever. But what happens next is it'll escalate to violence eventually because
mhm.
that's what happens with again like discrimination all over the world. This is where the poison happens and it spreads like wildfire. And it's really sad because we're friends. And I know you and all my American friends, this would never happen. My friend from Florida was horrified. He's like, really? I used to live there. He's like, I'm surprised. Naples, everybody loves Canadians. And I'm like, I know. This is like two very minor, well, I shouldn't say minor, but just two incidences. But it's not going to stop there.
Well,
And it's just sad.
the thing is too, like this, the four countries hockey game during, or four nations, excuse me, four nations hockey game during the All-Star break from the NHL. It's supposed to be fun. It is a All-Star break entertainment fun. It is not the Olympics. It is not the best of the best of the best, whatever competed to go to the Olympics and you have your country pride and all that. This is taking the NHL players, if you don't know hockey, and different players from different countries from all over the world do play in the NHL, mainly Canada, Finland, the US, but the people from
Yeah.
all over the world play in the hockey league. So they did the four nations. Finland, I was gonna say California. I wish. Freudian slip there. Finland, the US, Canada, and I can't remember the other one.
That's usually Sweden, but I don't know.
Sweden, I think. Let me see. Let me see. Let
I'm
me see.
terrible. I should know this is
Oh,
the
I'm so sorry. This is so unprofessional. I
thing.
know. But I
Yeah,
have to
I
now. I
should
have to
know.
know.
Uh,
Four nations.
yeah.
Okay, the four nations hockey were. Can we please get the names of the four nations? I'm not even. Oh, Canada, United States. Yeah, we already know that. It's not even saying the other country.
I feel terrible. I should know this. This is
Oh my God, I should too. And I'm just totally, oh, what are the four nations? Canada, US, Sweden, and Finland.
thank you, Sweden. I said Sweden. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I figured it was Sweden,
So,
Finland, Canada, and the US. Yeah.
and if you've ever followed any American sport at least, which I know, it's a Canadian sport, not trying to ruffle feathers, but if you follow any sport that's in the United States, we have the all-star breaks. They have all-star things. They do fun things, challenges. In baseball, they have the home run derby. In basketball, they have the dunking contest. They did in football this year a spiking the ball contest. So it's supposed to be fun. But then President Trump got involved. God,
Well,
I
he's making everything political. This is the
hate to
saddest
say
part.
that. Yeah.
It's supposed to be about sportsmanship. When they were interviewed at the last game between Canada and the US that we just played the other day, Trump had to go talk to the hockey. Like he was the one that like, said something about the hockey team, and then his representative, whatever that chick's name is, Carolyn or whatever, she's just an idiot. And we're looking forward to winning against our future 51st state. And it was like, just shut the fuck up. Like, and when they were interviewing all the people at the game, going to the game, they're like, this isn't a political issue. Let's just watch a hockey game. We love hockey.
Yeah.
Let's just watch hockey. And I thought, what a brilliant response, and stop making everything so effing political. But the saddest part is the undercurrent and the fact that we feel like we're being threatened with the tariffs, with the trades war. Like it's just such bullshit. It doesn't need to happen. And it's one person who's who's invoking all of this, provoking all of this. And then you get the people that are brainwashed that follow him that think and amping up the level of hate and the level of animosity. And I will say as a Canadian, it was just so disheartening when, this all started in the beginning, it started happening and national sports teams were singing national anthems and booing at the American
Yeah.
anthem. And we had a bunch of political leaders saying, come on, guys, like that's not who we are. I'm like, no, that's not who we fucking are. We don't do that shit. Don't stoop to that level. And it's to a poor girl in a fucking wheelchair, black. And I almost think that they deliberately did that. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I think that really you're going to put the most vulnerable person you can find because they know that we might have retaliation here and she
Yeah.
might get some booing. And
That's
so
gonna
maybe
make you
to
guys look
prevent the
worse.
booing, we're going to put the most vulnerable person. Like it was just disgusting. And I just thought, that's really tactless. It's tasteless, but we're pissed off and people are pissed off. And so they're feeling we're matching the level of respect we're getting with the level of that's the kind of respect back. It's a disrespectful act. It's gross. And now Americans are booing at the Canadian anthem, and it's just like, come on. This
This
is
is
just
what Trump said before all the games. He said he was calling Team USA to spur them on toward victory tonight against Canada, which with far lower taxes and much stronger security will someday, maybe soon, become our cherished and very important 51st state. First off, this is an all-star break game for
it's
fun.
nothing to do with fucking politics.
Nothing.
Everything. He's making politics about everything.
And I love that Trudeau said after Canada won, you can't take our country or our game. It's like,
I I
it
know.
is
I
so,
know.
honestly, it's gotten, and people are going to be like, oh, you're, I don't know, Trump derangement syndrome, because that's what they always say. Whenever you say anything negative about Trump, they say
Yeah.
it's Trump derangement syndrome. And it's like, you are worshiping, literally worshiping an ordinary human being who is a narcissistic pig, and you're worshiping him. I wrote this post and I said, your Lord and Savior Trump. And some man who is evangelical, I guess, got really upset that I would evoke Lord and Savior for Trump. And I said, hey, that's not me. That is your own people. And then I started showing him articles where they say they're evoking Trump and Christ, literally Jesus Christ. And there is a picture of Trump looking like Jesus Christ. And I said, these are your people doing this, your own people. So he was really upset with me because how dare I say that? And I said, you need to be upset with your own people, not me. when your own evangelicals are claiming that he is godlike, Christ-like, and even above God, and he's now saying it, and you guys are eating it up, that is not me being blasphemous.
Well, it isn't, but here's again, you're trying to deal with illogical, and you can't deal with illogical.
Yeah.
There's no rationale. There's no, it's all completely distorted. And the saddest thing, and then you look at the US Constitution, the US is built on your Constitution. You were built on your
Not
Constitution.
anymore.
And not anymore. If Trump overrides the Constitution, which most people that voted for Trump are all about the Constitution. So now I'm starting to see Americans that voted for Trump come around and be like, oh my God, what did we do? What did we do? Holy crap, what did we do? Now he's trying to override the Constitution. You do that, you have no law and order.
Yep. Oh,
You
he's already
have
said
no law and
several
order.
times that he is the law.
I know, but this is the problem. Again, what do narcissists do? I was explaining to my kids the other day, and I thought this was a really good example because they're learning sort of about the politics and everything. And I just said, well, you remember watching the movie Aladdin? They're like, yeah. And I said, you know, Jafar and how he's the evil, the sorcerer. And they're like, yeah. Or he's the what
Sultan.
well he becomes he's the one fighting for it. He's I
Yeah.
forget his label in the movie or what he is to begin to the sultan, and he tries to overpower, and then that's why he wants the lamp, because he wants to become sultan. And then instead of sultan he becomes a sorcerer, because a sorcerer is more powerful than a sultan. And then in the end of the movie, Aladdin's really smart and he tricks Jafar. Now if you look at Jafar as the narcissist and the sociopath and the psychopath, as Trump, it's all about power and beating out everybody and making everybody else insignificant and having ultimate power. It doesn't matter how much money you have, it doesn't matter that you beat this way. You have to take over. It's this power becomes obsessive, and I'm above the law and I get to do whatever I want. There's no constitution, nothing left. In the end, Aladdin says, you will never be more powerful than the genie. The genie has more power than you. He can take your power away. He can give it to you. And he goes, oh, you're right. You're right. I want to be the most powerful genie, because he's obsessed with power. This is the depiction, and this is what a narcissist is. This is exactly what a psychopath, narcissistic psychopath is. And then the cuffs. And now he's going to be a slave to all the people, because he forgets the fact that he's the one that can give the power, take it away, but he's a slave to the people who need the three wishes. And that's how Aladdin tricks him. And it's brilliant. It's a brilliant depiction of what narcissism is, and like malignant narcissism. And
Mhm.
this is Hitler. This is Putin.
Yeah.
This is every dictator on the planet who, or multi-million billionaires. And it's not about they're just, they have to be the elite, the elitist of the elite. And they will stop at nothing.
He says, and he repeats this over and over again, that his recent election is a mandate by the people to basically do whatever he wants to do. Because whenever he does something, he said it's a mandate from the people, a mandate from the people. No, this is not a mandate from the people. For one, he did not win by that much. He keeps saying he did, he didn't. Two, there's so much shady stuff that went on that he's now saying out loud, like about election fraud. He's saying he sent the person who knows everything about the computers in Pennsylvania, Elon Musk, and look at Elon Musk went there, fixed it, and he won. Like
Watch
he's
those two.
saying,
Yeah, I know, but watch those two wind up being in a battle. Look what
oh,
happened
they
in
already are. They
it's
already
unbelievable. Two narcissists fighting, and again, they're obsessed about power. They're going to be one-upping each other all the time. Elon Musk walks in with his kid, no dress code, no nothing, like doesn't
takes
care.
over the Oval Office
It's
while Trump
the
sits
office.
there. The only the only bad thing, I cannot wait till it explodes. I will say that. It's going to explode. It will. I cannot wait for it because narcissist against narcissist does not work.
No, it doesn't.
But in the meantime, what does a narcissist do while that's happening? A narcissist gets worse and just spews over everybody. And if you see Trump sitting at the Resolute desk while Musk's little kid is picking his nose and rubbing it on the desk and telling Trump to get away, get out of here, and he's not the president, and Trump's just sitting there, what does he do after that? He does something even worse to the country. He does
Mhm.
something even worse to the people. He takes out his rage in other ways.
What we know about narcissists too, and narcissistic rage is narcissistic injury. And when Trump didn't get in the last time and Biden got in, and then what he's been biding his time. Trump has been waiting that whole time to get back in so he can implement and punish and do all the things
Everyone.
because he had such insane amounts of narcissistic injury because he didn't get voted back in, and he's been plotting and scheming and waiting. And this is why you're seeing action being taken so fast and going against authority or above authority, making his own rules. Like again, listening to one of a senator talk somewhere, or yeah, it was a senator, but then looking at law and order in the judicial system and judges and not ruling in his favor. And now he's at war with, again, this goes against the Constitution. What is now going to happen within the US when the president doesn't abide by the law? He expects everybody else to follow, and he is above the law. And then your Constitution is what? The US prides themselves on the Constitution. Like, I just
Mhm.
don't understand how this is going to go.
And what happens when you have a man with more money, literally, than anybody else on the planet working with you for now, because that's why they're together, is because Musk gets to do whatever he wants because Trump, he's got the money. So since he's giving Trump the money, Trump's letting him do whatever he wants. But you have the person with more money than anything running roughshod
Mhm.
over the government, over everything. And you know as well as I do, it's not a matter of who's right and who's wrong. It's a matter of who has the money.
Well, this is just it. And this is where the hypocrisy comes in. So he wants to eliminate and get rid of all the foreigners. Ivanka, or sorry, Ivana, his first wife, foreigner. Melania, foreigner. Elon Musk, foreigner.
Who lied to get into this country and stay.
And this is what kills me. It's all about the money and how these foreign women who are beautiful serve Trump. As long as it's working for him, it's okay and can be as hypocritical as he wants. But
And
going against it, it's just,
and again, if you have the money, like Musk on his X, there's a lot of companies that decided they were boycotting X, no longer going to put ads on and stuff. So what is he doing? He is suing them.
mhm,
He's suing them all. And he
yeah.
keeps adding names to them. And so is Trump. Trump doesn't like, I think it was the state of Maine had said that they were not going to follow his stuff. They're going to follow their stuff. And he's like, I'm going to sue you. So all of this money too, that people do not realize whenever Trump says, I'm suing you, and then he does, it's our money. He's doing this now with taxpayer money, not with his own pocket money. He doesn't do anything with his own pocket money. He never has and he never will.
Mhm,
So he's using our money, and we have no say in it.
mhm.
And then if you do say something, then Musk and Trump with the money will go after you. It is becoming 1936 Germany again.
And this is the thing. This is where it starts. It starts with the hatred and the creating the animosity in other countries and making barbaric statements like us becoming the 51st state. And now we've got Canadians being like, you could become the 11th province. I'm like, no, I don't. We want the US to be the US. We're separate countries.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want, no, like just you got stop.
I mean, he wants Greenland, he wants the Panama Canal. And I don't know if you read any of the mainstream news here, which you can't anymore because the
How about Gaza?
mainstream news just
Okay, Trump, just take the Holy Land,
they
really?
yeah, they pacify him so much. Well, there is precedent for, I'm making this up because I cannot remember the exact.
Mhm.
There is precedent for Greenland because back in 1776, when they were forming the country, it's like that's not fucking precedent for wanting Greenland because way back in the 17 and 1800s,
And just calling things whatever he wants to call them, like the Gulf of
Gulf of
America.
America.
For over 500 years, it's been the Gulf of Mexico. You don't just get to change it because you want to. Again, it's the absurdity and the audacity and the entitlement of this guy. And yet people are eating his shit up. And it's just like the ignorance is mind blowing. But how can we apply Darvo to Trump, Dr. Lerman?
Okay,
Let's give our viewers an example of what this looks like.
Darvo is deny or deflect, either one, deny or deflect,
Attack.
attack, and then reverse offender victim. So
Mhm.
basically, wait, you're saying that I did this? Whoa. Okay, I'm going to use, instead of Trump, I'm just going to use a little example of what it is so that people can understand it on a basic level. I just looked at your phone and you're getting a call from your ex here and a text that's saying she loves you. What the hell? And we'll meet you tomorrow. Now, Darvo is that I don't know what you're talking about, or that was an innocent text. What the fuck are you doing looking at my phone? I have no damn privacy in here. Everything that I do, you scrutinize everything. You're always on me, on me, on me, on me. I can't get any moment peace from you while you're doing whatever the fuck you want and talking to whoever you want. You're
And
the
now
one,
you can see if you've invaded my privacy. How dare you? I'm the victim here.
uh-huh.
There's the
You're
word.
the bad person in whatever way.
Mhm.
How dare you? Um, my ex got a Alexa or whatever it was, and I said to him, "Oh, have him read, your last text." He's like, "No." And I could have sworn I was his last text. And I said, "Have him read your last text." He's like, "No." And I'm like, "But why?" And then all of a sudden it's like, I'm invading his privacy. I come into his house, this poor innocent person, and start bombasting him with allegations and threats. And it's like, what the fuck?
Mhm.
That's Darvo. That's Darvo. So if you're
Yeah.
ever, huh?
No, no, no. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh. So if you're ever caught in you're accused someone of something, even with proof, and all of a sudden you're the bad guy, you're being attacked, you're the one doing everything.
Yep. I can't do anything right. I can't do everything. I can't do anything right. And it's just, again, it's so mind fucking. But this is where people are like, what just happened? I simply addressed something because it's pretty blatantly obvious and it's not fair. And what's going on here? And now all of a sudden I'm the abusive, horrible one, and you were the victim. How did that work? How did that happen? They deny, they deflect, they blame shift. This is all part of Darvo. So
How does
again,
Trump do it?
how does Trump do it?
You will see Trump do it a lot if you're paying attention. One particular way is when somebody in the what are they called? White House briefings or whatever his little press conferences are. If someone points out something, like your polling numbers are actually worse than you're saying they are, he
Mhm.
will, I don't know what you're talking about. My polling is the best. How dare you come into my space and you're attacking me? And
You
now,
don't talk to the president like that. I'm the president of the United States. You don't talk to your president like that. This is what he does. This is
and
classic.
here's a big example. The
Mhm.
Associated Press refused to call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. How how dare you not take an order from the president where the whole world is on my side? Everybody wants the Gulf of America. And you, AP, are disgusting and horrible people who are always printing lies, and everything that you print is lies. So now it's on them, that it's all their
That
fault.
they're the problem.
And now they're banned from the White House and banned from Air Force One
Yeah.
because they
They're
hurt his feelings.
yeah.
Because the poor guy is only doing his job because America has a right to the Gulf of America name because we're the one that gives all the money or
Mhm.
whatever the fuck his reason is. But
What?
again, sorry.
No, no, no. Go ahead. I didn't know. I'll
No, were
get to
you
that.
going to say what is his reasoning? Or
No, 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 no. It was for there. I don't remember which state it was for, but I just saw something on it recently, and he was addressing a governor to agree and sign off on men not belonging in women's sports.
Maine,
And
I
I
believe. Let me
I
see.
think it was Maine. It was Maine. And then he had to basically say, as much as it had a liberal presence, he won most of the state and it has a more Republican presence or conservative presence or whatever he said. And that everybody was in support of him. And you better change your
Yeah.
mind or you'll get no federal funding. And basically the governor just said, I'm following our constitution. Like you don't get to just change and sign off. And he goes, no, you're going to regret that. You're going to get no federal funding. You're going to get no.
Yeah. This is what Mills is the government, went head
Yep.
to head with Trump at the National Governors Association session at the White House on Friday after the president told a group of Republican governors that he would withhold funding from the state over its refusal to comply with an executive order barring transgender athletes from competing in women's and girls' sports. Trump directly asked the governor during the session whether the state would follow the order, to which Miles responded, "I am complying with state and federal law." And he said, "We are the federal law. You better do it because you're going to get not going to get federal funding." Sorry, I flubbed that one up. "We are the federal law. You better do it because you're not going to get federal funding." And she said, "See you in court."
Yeah, and
And
he says, I look forward to it.
he says to everybody when she's not around,
Mm.
"You saw Maine yesterday, right? The governor of Maine, she's fighting to keep men in women's sports. You ever see what happens to a woman when woman boxes a man who transitioned to womanhood? You ever see what happens? It's not pretty. Let her do that fight. Let them all do the fight." Has he ever seen it? He hasn't even seen it too either.
No, he's not religious either, and the guy is just so unbelievable. Anyways, this is exactly our point. This is Darvo, and I have to say, the people that continue to support Trump, it's willful blindness. People will only see what they want to see. But the saddest thing is that history always does repeat itself. But you think that we're so far off of World War III, or we're so far off of the Holocaust, something along those lines ever happening again, which was the worst thing in our history. And we're not, when you get a dictator like this in power, and that he has such massive influence, and then it gives it, what's her face? Meryl Streep said it the best at one of the ceremonies the first time he was elected, and that people will follow this as he is a leader, and they will look up to him, and they will believe what he says, and it gives everybody the permission to just behave poorly. That's what we're now seeing.
There
More
is
race, more misogyny, more bigotry, more discrimination, more everything. It's just sad.
there is a video, there's a clip from a Twilight Zone episode. Rod Serling was a genius.
He was a genius.
Scary when you think about
We live
this.
living in the Twilight Zone.
There was a Twilight Zone episode where Dennis Hopper, I think is the character, becomes this Hitler-like person, and everybody's gravitating toward him. You don't want immigrants. You don't want this and that and the other. And they're having this big rally where this old man that was probably in the Holocaust was talking to, what are they called? Soda jerks, I think it was, maybe the guy behind the counter at a pharmacy or something, and said, "I've seen this happen before, and we thought it would never happen again, and this is what's going on." And the guy's like, "No, I don't think so." And they're listening to it. And it's like, it is. So I was looking at the reason I bring this up is I was reading comments because someone posted it. And one of the comments this lady wrote was, "I'm so glad Musk and Trump are now in office to get rid of this kind of stuff." And I commented just because I had to that I'm like, you obviously missed the whole point of this video. And if you watch the video again, you might find that you're sitting in that audience right now. You're one of those people that's drinking the Kool-Aid. Because, honey, that's what we're talking about is Trump and Musk. I mean, there was one person in all of the comments, and that was her. That was like, and now we're in such a good golden age of what? All these people saying that our country was crap with Biden. I really would love to know how bad your life was because of Biden. Because I don't know one person who can answer that question.
People are looking to blame somebody and something.
Yeah.
Again, not taking accountability for your own stuff. Now let's just hate everybody, or hate this person, or hate that, and deflect, and not take any accountability for where you are in your own life. The economy and the inflation is global. I
Well,
mean,
it's even worse now, actually, with
and it's
Trump.
going to be worse before it gets better. This is the problem.
Well, you
Um,
know that Trump has actually come out. I mean, we heard this before by Musk saying, "You're going to have to tighten your belts, people. It's going to get worse before it gets better." And people cheered him, cheered him. This was pre-election. Now that Trump is in, Trump is saying, he said day one he was going to lower prices on gas and eggs and groceries. And now,
I can't guarantee anything.
no, he's saying he can't and he won't. He's not
Yeah.
even saying I can't guarantee. He's saying I can't
His,
because
his
Biden ruined it all. So he can't do anything about it.
deflecting, 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 and not taking
And
it.
and again, he inherited everything was so bad, and he can't be the one to fix what somebody else messed up so poorly. Again, the Darvo denying that he has anything to do with what's going on right now
Mhm.
and deflecting it and reversing. He is the one that is doing his best, his hardest on a mandate of the people, which I swear if I hear that one more fucking time, on a mandate of the people, and all he's doing is making our country better, and he's just getting picked on apparently because he is making our country better from the bad people before him. And again, I would love to see in these comments if you were negatively affected by the Biden administration. Not just, well, I got fired from my job. That has nothing to fucking do with Biden. And if that's the case, how many people just got laid off from the federal government? Okay. So there's that. I have asked people how they personally were affected by the Biden administration, not your uncles, cousins, brothers, aunts, sisters, friends, third distant relatives, babysitter, girlfriend. I don't want that information. I want to know how you yourself were personally or your family hurt by the Biden administration's policies.
But again, 90% of the people that voted for Trump that thought they were so hurt by Biden can't even spell their own last name. They're
No.
just uneducated and ignorant. And again, they're like just some of the stupidest. Okay, so here's an example. Somebody was interviewing random people on Trump's inauguration, saying, because it was Martin Luther King Day, saying, and tricking them. Do you think that Martin Luther King should have been there to show his respect to Trump and to whatever? Yes, I really do think he should have been there, not even knowing the guy's dead.
Dead.
Like, no, not
Dead.
fucking no education, not educated. Three different people thinking that Martin Luther King was still alive. Like just fucking insane. And these are the people that are following Trump.
Yeah. It's really scary where you have now he is polling negative in the polls. And this is another Darvo. He's not polling negative in the polls. You just have the wrong polls. He is so good that look at all the polls are against him. So we need to stop polls because they're all against him. That's what he does too. When he is wrong, instead of admitting that he's wrong, let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of it. Oh my God, they're attacking me. They're attacking me, and I'm only trying to do good. So it's gone.
Yeah, no.
It is, I don't know why today, this morning after reading the news, I feel more scared than ever.
No, I'm freaked out. I'm not traveling. Like I said, I drive across the border all the time. I go to Seattle. I go down. I used to go to Utah every year, Salt Lake City, California all the time. Like honestly, I love the States, and there's so many states I haven't been to that I really want to travel to. But right now, for the first time, I'm scared.
Yeah,
And not because I think that there's like, oh my God, World War III is going to happen and I'm going to get stuck. It's again, it's the level of animosity building between the two countries and the fact that so many people, again, what happens after you start spewing hatred verbally, violence comes to
yeah,
follow. And that's the scary part is like, I don't, like, how do you know? I don't trust. And then you're around those uneducated, moronic people and you have access to all these guns and they don't, there's no really, it's bloody scary. I just don't, like I said, I can handle somebody saying, oh, I'm not serving you because you're Canadian. Okay, you want to go ahead, whatever. If you're that ignorant and stupid, you go right ahead because I'm such a threat to you. One person in your, oh, I'm supporting your economy, by the way, double the cost because our dollar is shit and yours is amazing. And so when we go there,
for
we have to
now.
pay double,
For
right? So we're
now.
going down and costing us double what it would be supporting your economy and you don't want to serve. Like, again, use your brain.
Well, the newest thing that they want to pass is that you have to your voting ID has to match your voting name has to match your birth certificate.
Oh, wow.
So married women.
Oh, right. I saw her coming up. Yes, I saw a speech on this. Married women who have their husband's last name now are going to lose the right to vote.
Yep.
Again, that's a power play.
Yep.
Big for women's rights.
Yep. And there are women, again, Trump supporters who are like, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're already voting, you're already voting. You don't have to worry about it anyways. It's like, just because it doesn't affect you
Yeah.
doesn't mean it doesn't affect millions of people and that it's okay.
No,
That's
it's
one of the
okay.
problems is
It's not
that,
a
yeah, all these people that are now being affected that voted for Trump and are saying, well, I didn't know it meant me. You know how many times I've heard
yeah, but
them.
yeah, again, it goes to show they're fucking
Yeah.
ignorant. They
I
don't
didn't
think
care
affect
if it
them.
meant you. I didn't care if it meant him. But wait, now you're talking me?
Yeah, because again, it's all self-centeredness. It's all about a person and their own individual and not looking at the as a collective, as a whole.
This whole tariffs thing, the states on the bottom 10, I think it was, that they listed that are going to be affected the most. They're all red states.
They're all red states, and they are going to be the affected the most. And yet, you'll still find people somehow struggling but still loving Trump because they're just so fucking dumb. Like I
Because
just
it's Biden's fault, because Trump right now is still
don't
the
see.
Darvo. He is just a poor victim of all of Biden's mess that's going to take him 10 years to fix because he plans on staying in office.
So remember when Obama was in power? Did you ever hear him complaining about the Bush administration and that it was Bush's fault for causing such chaos and the economy? And yet everybody knew that Obama had to come in and pull like his hands were tied because he had to deal with such a mess. But you didn't hear him bitching and complaining or blaming or pointing fingers. He just went in and did his job.
And unfortunately, the Democrats at this point need to blame and point fingers. They honestly really do, because that's part of the problem is the Democrats are just
Yeah, but again, when we look at arguing and fighting and stuff, when you're going up against like a narcissist, what do? You gray rock, you walk away, you don't bother because you
but
can't.
But they're not doing in Congress. They
Mm,
should be doing what Congress did to them when the Democrats had the majority. Filibuster, stall, be stubborn, fight.
yeah.
Don't roll over. But the
Uh,
Democrats,
yeah.
because they don't have a minority or majority,
Sorry.
they're kind of rolling over and letting all of this happen. Like instead of confirming and having votes on the confirmation, they should do the same thing that the Republicans did and stall and stall and stall. I would rather my taxpayer money going to stalling these people from being put into office than to them rolling over and putting these people into office. Speaking of, if I don't say it now, I'm going to forget this. You know that Elon Musk, this is not slander or defamation because he has admitted it. I have the video that Elon Musk does ketamine.
Mm.
He does ketamine because it takes away those depressive thoughts.
Yeah, it does. Ketamine works for depression big time. Yeah.
Now, RFK Jr., now our head of Health and Human Services, he wants to take and get rid of all antidepressants.
Mm.
He wants to put people who are on antidepressants and other psychotropics all on a big farm where he takes away the medication, takes away the phone, takes away their lifelines to their families, and has them work off of their mental health issues. He's serious too.
I know.
And if you're going to do that, then let's make the first person Trump, Musk, because Musk openly talks about how he's taking ketamine for depression.
Here's the deal. You want to do that? You better take away the fucking guns.
Yeah.
Away the guns. Because you're going to be dealing again, you think mental health is the problem in the States now? You think the mental health is the issue and it's not the guns that are the issue? Then you better take away the fucking guns because I'm going to tell you if you take away psychotropics, you take away SSRIs, you take away any kind of drug that can balance serotonin, dopamine, neurotransmitters in the brain where people are genetically predisposed, not just based on environment, not just based on biopsychosocial, but actual genetics, you are in for a
Mm-hmm.
real thing and you were in
Mm-hmm.
trouble.
And that's they RFK also, because again, these guys never lie, right? They never lie. He also said he wasn't going to go after the vaccines. He wasn't going to go after while he was in his, hearings. And instead of saying, "Oh, you're fucking lying," they acquiesce, they let him in, and one of his first things is to get rid of the vaccine schedule, get rid of all these things, and start looking into getting rid of psychotropics.
Wow, it's frightening. Well, all
Yeah,
I can say is this, what do you think that the citizens within these countries can do, and the logical people, is we all band together as humanity. So the Canadians and the Americans that are on the right side of the page, meaning not right, left, I mean like have
correct.
law who are frustrated, who are scared, who know that we need to. We don't let the hate spread. We don't let the animosity build. We go against what Trump is trying to do, which is to create that animosity, to create that hatred, to stir the pot, deliberately get people fighting. Because what happens when people fight? It's a great distraction where he can do more damage. This is what dictatorship does.
Yeah.
So we go against it instead of doing exactly what he's intending to do, and is it's working, is we go against that and we unite
One
globally.
one thing I want to say, living in California, thank God. But one thing I want to say to hopefully everybody else out there, Canadians, Europeans, everyone is, I please still understand it is not most of America.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. We know that. We
Really
know
isn't.
like and this is where I find most of my American friends are so embarrassed and they're just like, please don't think. And I'm like, no, it's scary to say that it's a small majority of Americans that are part of this whole hate culture and Trump supporters, even though Trump won the election. Like it's just a little bit
I
messed up.
really don't think he did though. That's
Yeah,
a
well, I know. But
yeah.
again, this is where it doesn't really make a lot of sense because when we think about everybody saying it's only a small portion of American citizens who are Trumpers and who, they don't speak for all of us. We know that. If anything, my heart breaks for my friends down south. And I don't know how you're doing it. I would be absolutely terrified. I'd be getting the hell out of there so fast if I could. But you can't. And so this is where we just need to band together. So as Canadians, we band together with our American friends, not government, but our American friends, and we fight against tyranny.
Because look at I know I'm going a little bit separate, but look at what he did with the war in Russia and Ukraine. All of a sudden, here, Darvo. Who's the bad guy? Now it's Zelensky,
And now, so not
who
Putin,
invaded Russia.
Ukraine. Oh, fucking
Russia
A.
invaded Ukraine, and he is saying
Russia
Zelensky
invaded, yeah.
now invaded
I know.
or caused it all.
I know.
I am so, one, that is terrifying to me now, how far that's gone. To not only we're not going to support you, but now we're going to blame you for all of this. And so now you have Europe, who he's leaving out of the peace talks. He's even leaving out the Ukraine from the peace talks, and he's partnering up with Putin. And that is
Well, like he did the last time.
terrifying.
That's what happened the last time. He was in Putin's back pocket. This is exactly the scary part. You've got dictator and dictator.
And there are so many Republicans. I don't know if you saw the video, but they're against it, but they're not doing anything about it.
I know. Well,
I don't
I'm
agree with
out there
it.
hearing so many people going, "Oh my God, we're so sorry. We didn't know he was going to do this. Oh my God, we're so sorry. We didn't know
But
he."
we did know he was going to do this. That's
Oh,
the
we did. But again, willful blindness. What is willful blindness? It's
yeah.
seeing what you see and not looking at reality and deflecting and denying the facts that are put right in front of you.
Plausible deniability. I had no idea that that's what was going to happen.
I know.
Yeah, you did. Because we were saying it over and over
And
and
when
over
Trump was
again.
in power, that's when Roe v. Wade was overturned. Like, come on, guys. You
Right
knew,
away, right off
right
the bat.
away. And that's something that nobody ever thought would ever be overturned, ever.
I have not. And again, people are like, oh, it's fear mongering. No, no, it's not. Because he is done. I don't care that it's all wrapped up in the courts right now. And yeah, we got a victory, which isn't a victory, where the Supreme Court said they're not going to hear his challenge yet. They want to see what goes on in the lower courts. That's not a victory. It's a pause. Because they didn't, because two Republicans said that they would definitely pass whatever it is that Trump wanted.
Hmm.
So it is extremely scary. It is extremely I don't even know. I keep asking myself because we still have to go about daily life. I mean, I remember my son was getting ready for school the other morning and I could hear him. And I'm thinking, life still has to go on.
Yes, we have to still live again, and not also not. And here we are paying attention and talking about all this political stuff and giving it attention, which is part of where it's just like part of the problem. But um, life does still have to go on. We can only can control what we can control. But how do we do that? We go against what his intentions are, which is to create hate and
Yeah.
animosity within people and neighbors. We've been neighbors for a very long time and good ones for that. And neither citizen has ever felt fear crossing the border, ever, ever, ever. I mean, regardless, like, I mean, it's there's just we're all. I love the States, but for the first time, I'm scared. I don't just
Yeah.
with the hatred brewing and building and animosity building, and it's scary. And do I really want to support the U.S. economy right now when this trade wars are happening and that the tariffs are going to fuck us royally and
Us
screw
too.
and you
Us
guys,
too.
well, yeah, both economies, we're both
Mhm.
going to be hurt by it. So do you really want to support? No, you don't. That's why everybody's sort of for like buy Canadian, buy Canadian. Don't encourage. We're encouraged not to splurge or spend, and support the American economy, which is again, that's not the way it should be. And it breaks my heart. It's actually just so effing sad. Like watching the hockey game and as a Canadian, I was excited they won. It's national. It's normal sportsmanship and friendly and it should be, but it just is heartbreaking. It
Mhm.
should be political. It should never be political. And the build just the buildup of all of this shit. So what can we do? We just have to go against the intention here of what he's trying to do and unite and stand together. We can band together. We're citizens of both countries. We don't have to like what our political leaders are doing. We don't
Yeah.
have to agree with what they're doing. We can continue just again, humanity. Humanity.
And that is one of the first thing that goes in times like this with, we've seen it in Germany. And I know they say, and you even said history repeats. History shouldn't if you learn from it.
But we're the dumbest
That's the
species on the
scary
planet.
thing.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
We don't learn from it because people like Trump,
Yeah.
Putin, and all of these dictators that are actual full-blown psychopaths. They're
Yeah.
mentally not well. If they were mentally well, then we wouldn't have fucking war.
Oh, sorry. I know this is a segue and I'm so sorry, but I have to say this. Going back to the Darvo with the plane crashes that we have,
Mm.
it's not their fault. And this man actually said, our new Secretary of Transportation or whatever, that there was none of this under Buttigieg's watch, and now all of a sudden there's four. Buttigieg has explaining to do. It's the Biden administration's fault that four planes recently crashed when he got rid of a bunch of FAA, eliminated TSA people and FAA people and all of that stuff. But again, the Darvo, what? We had nothing to do with it. Attack Biden and Pete Buttigieg, and they're just the victims of getting a system that these guys messed up,
Right.
ruined.
Yep. Deflect, 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 point the finger, blame, 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 blame shift, blame shift, blame shift, blame shift.
Blame shift big time. So if you ever come across, listen, people, please listen with an open mind, for God's sakes, and hear what's being said.
You
You know,
know what we should do? They should write a screenplay, a movie, because there was Don't Look Up. Remember that one came out with Jennifer Lawrence and Leonardo
Mhm.
DiCaprio? So good. So good. Another one where it's like,
Wasn't there wag the dog or
I
wag the
don't
dog
know,
or the
but there was
tail?
something about where we're begging people to listen and pay attention and look at what's happening and see, but they refuse. Everybody, willful blindness, they keep denying. And then eventually we just stop listening. And then when they're begging for us to listen and say, we're sorry, we screwed up. Oh my God, help us, help us, help us. Nobody's there to help them. They need to do a movie that kind of depicts exactly what's going to happen, where people beg people to see what's right in front of them, look at the facts, look at what's happening, stand up for humanity and human rights. And then eventually we stop. It's like the toxic relationship that just ends
Mm-hmm.
up going away when, women beg, beg, plead, listen, hear me, hear me, hear me, hear me. And it keeps falling on deaf ears, keeps falling on deaf ears, keeps falling on deaf ears. And then finally she's silent. And then she walks away and is like, what do you mean? Let's go to counseling, let's work. They should write a movie, or they should write a screenplay and put out a movie that depicts all of that with this whole political shit show.
Wagging the dog, the tail wagging the dog is an idiom that usually refers to something important or powerful being controlled by something less so. Our Constitution is
Mhm.
being controlled by the president instead of the people.
And that's not what the US is about. This is why it's going to be so interesting to see what happens, because your constitution is supposed to be rock solid.
Isn't it? Let me see, because
Built, your democracy is built on the Constitution. So I just don't understand how one person, and why he was approved by the Supreme Court. Why did they give him the power? Why did they not hold him accountable? What the fuck? Were they paid off?
this is what they need to do, because the first three words of the Constitution of the United States are "we the people,"
Yeah.
not the president.
No, I know,
It's
but
"we the people."
like, where is this going to go? How is it that the Supreme Court ruled in his favor? How were they all paid off?
No, they were, well, in by being given that position. They're his people that he put in there to do his bidding. Because again, Merrick Gar or O'Connell wouldn't let Biden or O'Connell wouldn't let Obama put in Merrick Garland that he wanted to do, because he said it's to the period of time between president elections. But
Mm,
yet they changed that rule for Trump.
of course they did.
So Congress, all of that is supposed to be for the people. The United States and everything that it stands for is supposed to be by the people. We elected someone to carry out the roles of the Constitution,
And now it's not happening.
and now
While
it's not happening.
you're led by a full-on dictator. The
Yeah.
United States is being led by a dictator, and you were so again, like American people thinking they're free. That's a
No.
fucking You're not free. You are now so yet you think that Trudeau's a commie. We get you're communistic, or he's a communist. No, he's not. He's
What
not a
did he say? He called himself the king. He branded himself a monarch, and he said, "Long live the king." I'm trying to find. Oh, he said, "Congestion pricing is dead. Manhattan and all of New York is saved. Long live the king." And his supporters are going to be like, "He's just joking." They'll either do one of two things: head in the sand, I didn't see it, I didn't hear it,
or just completely deflect.
or he's just joking. And we should know by now, a narcissist isn't joking.
It's just like Musk being like, "Oh, he's autistic, he's Asperger's, he doesn't know what he's doing." Oh, okay, right. Yeah.
Yeah, which we are coming to the end, so I want to just I just have to put this out there. We said in our last podcast that we challenged anyone who believed that that was an innocent, he's autistic, blah, 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 to do that salute on video and post it. Haven't received anything yet. I've had, what is it, 1900 views on just the little clip that I posted asking for that. And 82 comments telling us we're wrong and it wasn't, but not a one person would post, which we knew. We know they won't, because everybody knows it's wrong. Here's, you've heard of the term groupthink?
Mhm.
Groupthink, where we just follow along with the way the rest of the group thinks without using our own brains.
Mhm.
People, I don't know, if you have a brain, not that one collective brain cell that everybody seems to be sharing in the MAGA community, but open your ears, do some actual research, listen and see how it's gonna affect you. I mean, there's a whole new group every day that's being affected. Right now, it's Haitians that he invited in with open arms, and now he's sending them back.
Mm.
Um, so just, I don't know, maybe expand your worldview, take the blinders off. I don't know. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know what the answer
problem is
is.
the worldview, again, you're taking a demographic of people who are so fucking uneducated and
Yeah.
they don't have a worldview. They don't know how to see past the end of their own nose. Like I again, and no offense, but that's known around the world. When I was 20
Yeah.
years, 19, in fact, I was going to go to Australia with my boyfriend, and everybody said, make sure you put a Canadian flag on that backpack. And I was like, why? And they're like,
So you're
because
not American.
because they're not respected, because they go in entitled, arrogant, uneducated, and they're not liked and rude. And that makes me sad because again, you can't speak for all Americans. I have so many friends, nice like you and a million other people. But it's so sad that that's how you are seen around the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's worse. It's only gonna be worse.
Well, it's really bad now.
Yeah.
Well, that again, right? Like I don't even want to go to the US. And I love going down there and I like the culture. Like I it just again, there's so many, it's just so cool. Like when we go to the different provinces in Canada, if you look at the Eastern Board, it's different than the West Coast for sure. And then you go to the Maritimes, it's even more eclectic. But then when you think about going to the US, you've got something like New York, and then you go all the way to like Louisiana. So different, right? Idaho compared to Florida.
California.
California, so different. Every state has a story and its culture is different. The Carolinas versus again Nebraska or the North and South Dakota, or you look at
Yeah.
Maine, you look at all of the little Eastern Board states, right? With the history of like witchcraft and like, oh, just there's so much cool shit. And I
Hmm.
just the history and I love that stuff. I'd love to like rent an RV or even go on a road trip and like go to all the southern states.
I would have
Yeah.
loved to have done that. Now I stick to blue.
But
Please.
yeah, well, of course, but this is what I'm saying is so incredibly sad. And when you look at the United States, you are called the United States, and there's nothing united about you.
Maybe
Oh,
we need to just call it the States of America now and take the U out of it completely
look,
because
you're
we
not
are
united.
not united.
You're
No.
not interested. And you, but let's again, the people can get back to that. Don't listen to the fucking dictator you have. Go against him if you voted for Trump. Okay, so this is my message, and this is going to fall on the ears that want to hear it. It's not going to fall on the ones that don't, that you're barking up a never-ending bat, like it just won't work.
Screaming in the void.
You are a person who regrets, right? Your decision, and you did vote for Trump. Okay, no judgment here. I'm not judging you, right? But just unite with healthy people and let's band together and work together and stand up against the dictatorship, against the tyranny, against the toxicity, against the psychopathy. Let's stand together. As Canadians, we don't need to be fighting with one another as civilians. It's absolutely ridiculous. Our governments are struggling right now because of the economy. Let them fucking do their thing. We don't need to hate each other. Okay? Come on. We've been friends and allies for a really long time. You will not see me come across the border and throw hate at you. My heart bleeds for you. I want to stand with you to do the right thing. That's what I want to do as a Canadian. I want to stand with my American friends and do the right thing. We are friends. We are not enemies, nor should we be ever. It's not what we are. We should not be going to hockey games and booing at national anthems. It's not who we are, right? We
It's
need to
become
stand.
so disgusting and embarrassing and sad. And
Look at like it makes me emotional. It is
yeah,
heartbreaking. It
it
breaks
is.
my heart. I love people. I'm a kind person. And I pride myself on being Canadian. I always have, because we are nice people. We're known for that. We are not vindictive. We are not disrespectful, right? Ignore the political bullshit, but let's stay friends and let's stand together because this is what we need to do to stand up against somebody like Trump.
There's that song, I'm proud to be an American. And I'm not. I am not at all. I am Californian. And for at least the next 4 years, I am identifying woke, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But I am a Californian.
See? And
I'm
this is
not an American.
many people in it that are stuck in this situation where they don't even want to identify as an American. They
No, I'm
identify
embarrassed.
as their state if they're blue and more of democratic mind. Your political views, whatever, but for humanity's sake, for kindness, for love to win over hate, stand with everybody around the world will support you. We all do, for everybody that feels just as you feel. We're all people at the end of the day.
Hmm.
And regardless of whether you voted for Trump or didn't, or do the right thing now.
Yeah,
Do the right thing now. And that means stand with the rest of your country and the rest of the world to rise together against hate. Because that's what we need to do. We don't need another World War II. We don't need another genocide. We don't need a more discrimination and anger and people being mistreated and hurt and killed.
yeah, yeah.
The end.
Our time on this planet is temporary.
It is. Let's make it a good one. Let's
Yeah,
make it a good time, right? We're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. There's that
time.
song,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. And so on that
Anyway,
note,
happy
like,
everyone.
subscribe, comment, and we will see you again.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.